Greetings. This is Arvette McLean with Speak, the Universe Listens. New ways to view age-old challenges. Change your thoughts, change your life. Step into the bigness of you.
Hey y'all.
Hey.
So the other night I started this class that I had taken before that actually one of our favorite amazing co-hosts actually started, which is how you think you are. And so I actually started it, and one of the lessons in it is, why wait? You can have it all right now. And so as I got to that day and that lesson again, it just reminded me of that's just a powerful statement in itself, if you want me to be honest. Because so often on my everyday daily life, I go, yeah, I ain't my time yet. I'm getting there. I'm on the way. Or I always do things and speak about progress or like the process of it. But it's like, well, what happens if I were to just say, yeah, but like, let's skip the process and just get to the it. And so I was actually thinking like, I wonder if so many people just knew you can have it all right now, and that the only thing stopping you from having it is we actually keep speaking about the process and keep speaking about pushing towards something that we keep creating that gap. So what would it be like if we were to just say, I want the abundance and the happiness right now?
It'd be awesome. I had a lot of situations as to where it's like I procrastinate so much. I ain't gonna lie, that's me. That's one of my faults. And I really had to think about that quite a few times. Like, okay, Steve, you already aware of what it would be like if you just go ahead and just do. So what's the hold up? And I always used to keep telling myself, all right, so you're gonna do this and that tomorrow, or you're gonna do this and that on this day, right? And every time I kept saying what I was gonna do, or I kept telling people my plans, never falls through. So I think when I got really intentional and just start actually taking those steps to doing the things that I really wanted to do, whatever it was, that's when I started seeing progress and the things that I really wanted to see.
I think a lot of times we feel like it's some kind of requirements or some kind of course you gotta take or something you gotta finish before you can have abundance in the life you want. When really you can have it all now. And I feel like a lot of times we think it's like luck or favoritism or something. No, it's just how we feeling and how we vibrating.
Right. I think too. I think it's like also your environment and everyday life can sometimes play a factor in making that step, because you probably have a lot on your plate and whatever that you have going on in the midst of you trying to push forward in whatever it is that you desire, you can allow that to sort of be a distraction in a sense. So that's one thing that I've seen. After I moved the distractions out the way, then it was like, and really, I ain't gonna say really focus, but just being intentional and just flowing, things just started to change.
I actually like something that both of y'all said too, and it actually rings really heavy for me lately, which is I just been thinking about the whole idea of qualifications in my mind. Like, so many things, you need to be qualified for so many things in my mind, and then the further I go in life, the more I just go, yeah, but what is that? Like, the only qualification I need is to want to do it, or the desire to want to do it, and then I can do it. Like, I think about it all the time. I think about not to get political, but also I always tell people all the time, the one thing, no matter how you feel about any of the candidates, the one thing that I always took away from it was the silver lining was, even if you feel that such and such is unqualified, that just lets me know that we are able to do whatever we want to do and there's nothing that can stop us, because if X can be unqualified, then so can you. Like, all you have to do is literally just want to make it, and then every day you will start to be those same qualifications that you've been searching for. And I just like the idea of choosing, the happiness now, and not just, I don't know, it's just been really heavy on me lately, because I feel like there's so often, everything's so often for me lately, but I feel like what happens is I often look at things and go, all right, well, I want to do this in this stage of life, but it ain't my time yet, or, my time is, prime example, I want to buy a house, right? I'll go, all right, I want to buy a house, but instead of doing anything to go towards buying a house, or even feeling like I have a house now, or feeling like how I would feel to walk inside my home every day and feel those feelings and feel that abundance and feel what it feels like to walk inside my front door, see my dog running through, and then go, oh, this is my home, this is my humble abode, is what I'm lacking in terms of the having it right now. I think the only thing that's ever stopping me from having the home is the fact that I keep saying I want a home, or that I'm working towards getting a home, instead of just feeling what it feels like to be in a home.
Right. And I know that's one of the hardest things to understand, because we have been taught that we have to work. And like you say, there's a process and so forth and so on, and things take time. And that is all true in third dimensional reality. So one of the challenges that we have when we're like trying to shift from third to fifth is just the understanding that if you know why you want that house, then you can embrace it now. So like, why, for example, would you want a house?
A 3D reason. I want more, no, not even 3D. I want more space for my dog. Like, I have a beautiful growing puppy that I want him to be able to run around in the yard. I want to be able to walk into something and look at it and go, oh, this is mine. Like, I want the feeling of I want a yard. Yeah.
Okay, but like, what's the feeling that you will get from those things?
I would get a feeling of, that's a good question. Like, I would feel accomplished, like, ooh, it's a big step, so I would feel accomplished and like, ooh, we did that. I would also feel elated and happy, and also grateful, because I would also think about I would just think about so much in a home. So I would be grateful for all that came before the home. I would be grateful for every stop that I had before the home. I would be, what else would I feel here? I just like the feeling of, okay, another example, the feeling of being able to walk into a house and then go, all right, if I want to just dirty up the floor, I ain't hurting nothing. If I want to just walk around here in my little muddy shoes, and I just want
freedom.
Yes, like that freedom feeling that that this is control free as long as I want it to be.
All right. So those feelings that you say like freedom. You say the accomplishment. I can't remember what else you might have said, but like the feelings, you can feel those things right now. And so, like, just through our own imagination, we can make our bodies feel those feelings right now. And then the more you feel those feelings, the more you attract things that match that. Now, the good thing about the delay, if there's a delay, is that sometimes we think we want a certain thing. So you might think, oh, I want a big house. Mm-hmm. But then you get the big house and you're like, oh my God, it's so much maintenance to go. Every day I got to paint this, and then the garage's door doesn't work, and then I got to mow the lawn, and I got the pipes on, So then you might be like, man, I don't want this house,
right,
or whatever. But if you follow the feeling is, the freedom, the accomplishment, like things that vibrate towards that. Like, your higher self knows what will bring you that. It may not be the house. It may not be the big house. It may be something else that you would love more than the big house, if that makes sense.
I get
And
that.
so, but start vibrating, start feeling the feelings that you want to feel. Just feel the feelings that you want to feel. And, you know, I know I can say that, and I've said it, it's, you know, until I'm green. Feel the feelings that you want to feel. And you don't want to create the gap by saying, I want that. Just envision yourself with that now. And the more that you can feel that you're having it now, the less you're creating a gap between where you are and where you want to be. So feel the feelings now. Like, yeah.
And that's an everyday practice for myself, you know, because sometimes I think I want something, and then it can change up within a week, and 2 months, you know, and then that's when I realize I'm like, okay, that's not in really, I'm not in alignment with what it is I really want. So yeah, that's just an everyday practice. I think everybody should really get to that point as to where you got to, when you feel it, and you get in alignment with it, that's when it'll come to you.
And, you know, like one thing that I do whenever it's something I want, I will just literally, I do so much research on it. Like I read everything I can about it. I'll be looking at all the people who have it or who does that thing or whatever. And it's like, I'm feeling it. So it's like it becomes a part of me or whatever. And then before I know it, it's happened. I didn't do step one, step two, step, you know, it wasn't like a hard thing. It was just, it just, yeah, it flowed. And like people will always tell me, oh, I know you had to work hard for that. I know you worked hard for that. And I don't know, maybe I did. I don't know. But it didn't feel like it. Like it was easy, effortless, fun. And, you know, it's kind of like you wake up one day and you have it versus how I used to go about things, which is I have a plan.
Right.
There's a checklist. I got to go down that list. I got to work like a dog. I got to do stuff I don't feel like doing. I got to do stuff scared. I got to, you know, all of that, which is fine. You know, it's the way to do it. It's just hard to do it that way.
And I always remember I have to tell myself what's the why behind why I want to achieve this, or, you know, oh, I want this house, or I may want this car. What's the why behind it? Because when I remember my why, then that just sort of gets me even more pumped up to, I would say, get more in alignment with what it is that, and I hate using desire, because like saying
You want to see more of.
Yeah,
you want to
yeah,
see more of.
Yeah. So I try to make it an everyday routine. I think when people start doing that, and just, I mean, really it's just being, you know. I think, and I always have to remind myself, and I'll go back and I'll look and just, I'll amaze myself as to where it's like, it was a point as to where people thought I had everything all together, right? And at that time, I didn't have it all together. Nobody knew that, but if they seen me, they're like, hey, he's well put together. He got everything going on for himself. And in that state, I was actually being, when in the 3D, I really didn't. I have none of that all together. So just looking at that, I was like, dang, all right. Even now, when you have, always remember, like, okay, it's you have to put yourself in that state of whatever it is that you desire. Just continue to be it, you know. Like we said before, what is it, fake it till you make it. So yeah, that's one of the big things, just really being, and it can be challenging sometimes to be in that state of being if you haven't done it before. It can be challenging.
I also wanted to touch back on something that you had said on the vet, which is, you know, it's like a sentiment, a feeling of like, all right, you know, I really want this or whatever, and then as you get going on it, it's well, I don't think I want this anymore. I remember when I used to run into those walls, and I used to, like, another good example of it, I remember I spent at least all of my high school years saying, I want to be a history teacher. So I wanted to be a history teacher. Literally anybody that would listen to me is like, listen, I'm going to teach history. I don't need to do these math classes. Like, dog, I'm going to teach about the Civil War in a couple of years. Like, we don't need to do all this geometry stuff. Got to Longwood, and literally a semester, and I was like, oh, I don't want to teach. And it was that feeling. I remember like taking like a week, and I was like, well, dang, what do I do now? Like, I done spent up the last 4 years building myself up for this one thing. But like now I just don't want to do that, and I need to pivot. And I think it's also knowing that, hey, you can want something for a certain amount of time, and then maybe as you're getting it, you realize, oh, maybe that wasn't what I wanted, but it was more so this certain feeling. And once you get to that feeling that you like, find things that leans more into that feeling. And that's I think that was a special flip for me when I was able to be at Longwood and go, I don't think I want to teach anymore at the School of Teachers, and I think I want to do public relations, and just making that shift, and only because I just wanted to talk more. So I think that at all times you can always be in alignment with your highest desire, even if you might be slightly off step. You're usually going to find your pathway if you just keep going with the feeling and not the I want the item or the title.
And so I think you started off by saying something to the effect of, why wait when you can have it now, something like that?
Yes.
Yeah, so I just want to reiterate that everything that we want is already here for us, but we have the blinders, and we don't allow ourselves to see it. So it's really, when we start feeling worthy enough, yeah, because, and I was thinking about this on the way over here today. It's a long thought process, so I'm trying to skip all of that. But I was thinking about the time when I think the phone company was called AT&T back then, and they were doing this sweepstakes where they were giving away thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, like in a lump sum, not like, oh, you might win 1,000. You might win 500,000. Like, it was like big money, right? And long story short, I was in Disney World or Disneyland, whichever one is in Florida, and I was calling my house collect, and the operator came on and said, you've just won the grand sweepstakes or whatever. And I was like, oh, no, thank you. And the person's like, what? And I'm like, no, thank you. They're like, you just won the grand sweepstakes. I'm like, oh, no, thank you. And, the person who I was reaching on the other end of the phone, they're on the phone as well, like, because it was a collect call. And so they can hear the whole thing. And so they're like, why did you say no? Why? And I'm like, huh? And they're like, you just won, or whatever. But I was thinking about that on the way over here today, just because what I know is I didn't feel worthy at that time. And so even though it was right there, I couldn't receive it. And so I think just in general, like I think Rodney had kind of said something to the effect of, people ain't smarter than you or more deserving than you, or God don't love, them more than you. Like, why are they getting it and you're not getting it? But it's all about what we're allowing, because it's already there. It's not that God is holding anything back from you. Like a lot of people will say, it's not my time. When it's my time, God will give it to me. It's already given to you. And so now it's up to us to say, I receive it, I welcome it, because abundance is our natural state. It's our natural state to be abundant. And so we kind of think, to be abundant, that's something special. But really, that's our natural state. And we just blocking it from every angle by saying we don't have it, we want it, it's going to be hard to get it, etc. And I just think of like my whole focus used to be, I got to work hard. I'm gonna outwork anybody. I can outwork anybody. I'm gonna work hard. I'm gonna work hard.
Right. Guilty.
And so with that being my mindset, that's what I had to do, was work hard. And it literally took, just a thought, which is the law of least effort that Deepak Chopra had written about. Do less and accomplish everything. And I'm just like, what? Do less and accomplish everything? I don't understand. It does not compute. But it was a different enough ideal that made me just ponder, like, what? And I pondered it and pondered it and pondered it. And if you ask a question, you're going to get an answer. And so, I eventually answers started revealing themselves to me, like, how did you do less and accomplish more? How did you do less and accomplish everything?
Wow, are there any other thoughts, you guys?
No.
Well, thank y'all. I really enjoyed this. I needed this reminder that, it's all already right here for me right now, and that I'm creating these blocks myself. And that the part that you said that really stood out to me the most was, we often treat abundance like it's a special thing, but that's our natural state. That, I'm holding on to that one for a while, so thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for this conversation. And thank you guys for joining us. And we look forward to chatting with you again next week. Until then, this is Arvette.
And this is Steve.
Teron.
Rodney.
Bye, y'all.